See if anybody is here. Hi, Nicola. How are you? Hi, guys. Hi, everybody. Hi, Not So Quiet. Hi, Snowflake. Sally, Christine. Yeah, everybody's popping in all of a sudden. Hi, guys. Uh, this is going to be short and sweet, but I am so sad. I try so hard not to get involved in politics, and I make this a non-political channel. Those children, those poor children. Um, what Hamas did with those two poor children, parading their bodies off of a stage, playing fabulous music, handing out candy, people bringing their children. It was horrible. I am so sad at what happened to those two little kids. And then the story came out that Hamas had locked their coffins and didn't give them the key. So then they had to check the coffins before they could open them to make sure they hadn't been booby trapped. And then they finally get the coffins open. The 83-year-old man was identified, and the two kids were identified, and it was not the body of the mother in the other coffin. It was just an unnamed dead Gaza woman. So the mother is still missing, which means Hamas broke their agreement. Is anybody shocked by that? I'm not. But then it came out. Hamas told everybody that those kids were killed in an IDF strike. And it came out today. Oh my God. They were strangled. They were murdered by hands, not by gunfire. A 10-month-old baby, a 4-year-old. Like, how could you? I don't care what side of the argument you're on. I pray it didn't happen in front of that mother. And where is the mother? Where's her body? Like, what did you do? What did they do? The display that they put on yesterday was absolutely sickening. Even some of the people, top Islamic people in other countries, came out and said that they shamed Islam by what they did. I'm just so sad. I'm so heartbroken. What kind of evil could wrap your hands around the neck of a 10-month-old baby and strangle the life out of him? Like, how could you? Why is what I want to know. So very sad. And then for those of you who are unaware of it, I don't know if you guys are aware, somebody then went to Israel. Maybe if they weren't so busy killing babies and they'd paid attention in school, they'd know how to set a clock, because they set bombs on some of the Israeli buses. But instead of the buses going off at 9:00 in the morning, instead of the bombs going off at 9:00 in the morning, the bombs went off at 9:00 at night, because they were too stupid to figure out how to program a bomb. I'm really struggling with myself today, because I never, ever thought in a million years, ever, never, that I would sanction the deaths of other people or other children. Never. And then I see videos, these people in Hamas have their kids with weapons in their hands, screaming at the television screen, the camera, how much they hate Jews. They're going to grow up and they're going to martyr themselves. They're going to kill. And I'm like, I am so conflicted. I'm so conflicted. I mean, and I don't understand the hate and how you could do that to small children. I don't get it. But to find out today that the children were not killed by gunfire, that they were killed by hand. If they're killed by hand, that's what they're putting that's what's been put out by the news. If they're killed them by hand, the only thing I can think of is they either strangled them to death or they beat them to death. I can't. So I have been, for the last 24 hours, I have been so conflicted because I've never considered myself the kind of person, you want to get the terrorists, fine, but leave the kids. Leave the kids alone. But now their kids were watching that scene yesterday. These people brought their kids to watch it, and the kids were smiling and laughing, and then they were up on the stage laughing and joking as the coffins were taken away. And I'm thinking they're just future terrorists. I don't want what happened to change who I am. But unfortunately, I think what happened has changed who I am. I never thought that, I never thought. Oh, and by the way, on the side of their coffin, it said date of arrest. Date of arrest. You broke into their homes and you stole her and her children out of her house. You kidnapped her. Then you tried to blame her death on the IDF, which, if she had been killed, if the kids had been killed in an IDF attack, that still would have been their fault, because you're the ones who took her from her home and put her there. And I don't get it. I don't get it. Now people are saying it was civilians that joined in with Hamas. If civilians that took them. Okay. Who voted Hamas in as their leadership? Yeah. So they're just as guilty. I'm like I said, I'm not, I never wanted this to change who I am fundamentally or change my thinking. But oh my God, it has. And that scares me even more. Yeah, and we could debate all day. Like I'm looking over here. Somebody wrote, Gaza children were killed because their people started a war. Innocents died. They weren't murdered. Not the same. There are multiple Arab nations around the world. Multiple. Israel is the only Jewish one. It's the only one. But I'm telling you that once we're gone, and I'm not going quietly without a fight. Let me just tell you. Once we're gone, once the Jewish group is gone, they'll just turn their attention to the next group. And then when that group is gone, they'll turn their attention to the next group, because that's the way they work. It'll go from one group to one group to one group. If you, how do I put this? I told one of my friends, One of my friends said to me, oh, you don't have to worry. You don't have to this. We're all behind you. And I said to her flat out, if somebody came for me and threatened me and my children, would you be willing to hide my children and my family, even though knowing that if you do so, you and your children could be shot dead? If you're not willing to do that, then you're not my friend. You're not my friend. I have an aunt. I had an aunt. She's now deceased. She was from Paris. She and her brother survived the war by being hidden in a barn, in the floor of a barn for 2 years. I can't even imagine. But she survived. She and her brother survived. They immigrated to the United States. She married my uncle. They have 3 children who are now all living in New York. They're all attorneys. They're married. But if you are unwilling to stand up for one of the majority groups, just know that once we're gone, you're next. If you're unwilling to stand up and say, you're anti-Semitic, what's the matter with you? You love Jesus? Great. Jesus was a Jew. Like, what are you doing? But if you're unwilling to stand up for what's right, then you need to rethink yourself. But I have been so upset the last 24 hours, especially after it was confirmed that those 2 little bodies belong to those kids. And then to find out that they were either strangled or beaten to death, that it had nothing to do with the IDF strike. And then to find out that they sent some anonymous body back instead of the mother. Where is the mother? Where is she? I mean, I think it's too much to hope that she's still alive. Probably not. This whole thing is just a big mess, but I'm really trying not to become, one of those people, but I'm afraid I'm becoming one of those people. I can't. At the end of the day, we all belong to the same race, the human one. And if you can't get behind that, then I don't know what to say anymore. So if I can pull myself together long enough to get my next video done, you'll get a video. Yeah. All right, let's see what the rest of you are saying. Yes, he was. He was part of a group that used to drive Palestinians to the hospital for medical treatment. And that's what they did to him. No good deed goes unpunished. Pammy, that is absolutely correct. It's not the same as deliberate murder. I'm confused by that statement. I think taking 2 children and strangling them to death is kind of deliberate murder. That's just my my thing. See if there's anybody. Melly, I completely agree. I think some of it is a lost cause. I agree. I think I'll be heading to synagogue. I think you're right. Because I think it's more than I can. It's more than I can deal with, I think. So, I Guess I'm just wondering what the next step is. I know there's still some hostages being held. Um, wait, innocent killed is more than. Oh, exactly, Lisa Marie. Thank you. There's some more hostages apparently still alive. I think they're going to try to get some more hostages back. But I have a very sneaking suspicion that as soon as the rest of the hostages that are alive are returned, that I think as soon as that happens, then I think Israel is just going to blow them off the map, is what I think is going to happen. I'm not in a position to say if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just more than I can. It's more than I can deal with. It's more than I'm not in a position for that. Melly, the video is not down. It is on my Twitter wall and it's on my personal Facebook. The look of just terror on her face as she's clutching her kids and she's being carted away. It's just terrible. So I don't know. Just finding out that those boys not only were dead, but the way they died, I think was just, there's just too much for me that people could be, oh my God, like that you could just put your hands around the throat of a 10-month-old. I can't. So, prayers for that family, prayers that that mother is still alive, although I think that's more than we could all hope for. But the fact that I just don't understand why Hamas sent a nameless, faceless body back and tried to pass it off as the mother, like the IDF wouldn't know how to ID her. They're doing DNA tests. It's not her. So with that, they've broken the agreement. Anybody shocked that they broke the agreement? Because I'm not. Anyway, wait a minute. Let me see. Yes, I actually have the full hour-long video streamed by Hamas that shows everything they did on October 7th. It is horrific. It was disgusting. It was more than I could possibly. There are no words. I think if all these kids on college campuses were made to sit down and watch that video, I think they'd rethink their thoughts. But anyway, all right. I've put out my thoughts. I've said my piece. I'm really, you would think that the death of two gorgeous children like that, so far away that I've never met, wouldn't affect me in so much. But the last 24 hours has just been so bad. And, the thing that really kills me, all these big name people in Hollywood, they're not speaking out. Nobody's saying anything unless they're pro-Palestinian. It's like I literally, who is that supermodel? What the frick is her name? If I ever see her, I swear to God, like you guys know I don't usually curse. Who the fuck is she? Who is this? She hasn't said a word since the death of those children. Not a peep. But before that, she was running her mouth like nobody's business. Just crazy. All right. Working on a video for tomorrow. Julie. Yes, I am. I am Jewish. My kids are Jewish. Obviously. My son, being the proud boy that he is, I've asked him to remove his Star of David at college. He has refused. He's like, it's who I am. Like, well, I don't want you to give up your life for it. Like college, but okay. And I keep thinking back to when I was in London and I was being walked around by somebody, and we were being toured, and we took a road. We had just left Westminster Abbey. We were heading to Buckingham Palace. I wanted to see the cenotaph, and we made a turn. And the next thing I knew, I was in the middle of a Palestinian protest, the likes of which I remember I had my wristband on, so you couldn't see my Hebrew. My husband had his chest plastered to my back. My friend was in front. We were walking through this crowd. It's if you guys go back to my videos of the trip to London, it's there. And we got there, and we got to the other side. It took a long time. We get to the other side, and my friend turned around, looked at me with tears in her eyes, and said, "These are not my people." I'm so no. She said, "I'm so ashamed of my country right now." And I looked at her and I said, "Don't be ashamed. These are not your people. These are the people your country let in, who refuse to assimilate and instead want to take your country over. So don't be sad. It's okay." And we continued on down the mall to Buckingham Palace. But yeah, made me never want to. I love London. You guys know that. I love London. If I could live there, I would. But that particular day made me think that maybe I shouldn't return to London ever. But I would love to, would love to, but not when it's dangerous. Anyway, yeah. All right. Well, prayers for that family, you guys. Prayers that they find the mother, hopefully still alive, although I can't imagine that she's still alive. And let's just try to pull it together. There was a poem once. I don't remember the poem, but it was something along the line. I'm paraphrasing. Okay, I'm paraphrasing. They came for the Jews and nobody spoke up. And then they came for the next group and nobody spoke up. And then they came for my group and there was nobody left to speak up. So you have to, what's the word? You have to speak up. You have to speak up. Okay, wait, I'm going to address this. So you're saying it's okay for one-day-old twins to be murdered. We should all be moved by deaths of innocent children. I never said anything about one-day-old twins. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm talking about the 2 children who were kidnapped from their homes and a month later killed by hands is what's being reported. They weren't shot. They weren't bombed. They were murdered. That's what I'm talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. All right. I hope you guys have a better day. And I'm going to try to get a video out for tomorrow. And yeah, the whole thing sucks. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for listening.